Welcome to today's special podcast episode, whatever you call it, of Can I Be Allergic to This? So, this is our second little episode in this series, and I wanted to start off first. We're going to be talking about our roots and our money story today. But I wanted to touch base a little bit more and go a little deeper into allergies, especially when we're dealing with energetic allergy healing. Because after our last episode, our first one where we talked about family, I had a lot of interesting responses back. So I want to address the fact and switch up the verbiage in a way that we're doing and we're talking about allergies. Because often when we're talking about allergies, we really feel like, oh, it's like a physical response, like when you get sinuses or you have your eyes get puffy or you get sick to your stomach or you have hives, right? And that does happen. That can happen totally. But when we're doing energetic allergy healing in that kind of framework of talking about allergies, I want you to imagine, especially if you're here, when you're sensitive. So a lot of people, especially when they connect with being empathic, and I believe a lot more people connect to being empathic or sensitive. They're sensitive to energy. They're sensitive to walking into a room and being able to just feel what's kind of going on, or reading a room, right? Or they get messages or they connect in that way, right? If you're sensitive, you have the same kind that you most likely will be sensitive to things. So like food sensitivities, right? You can have sensitivities, therefore, and you often have a lot of sensitivities to different items, experiences, and such. So I wanted to talk about today money, right? Because not only can we have allergies or sensitivities to the physical paper, the metals, a lot of stuff is digital now. So actually the actual wavelengths and the digital format and that information and how money is transactions are done digitally now. You can have sensitivities to all that, but you can also have sensitivities. And remember last time we mentioned traumas about money and money stories. So I wanted to talk today briefly because this is a whole thing. And I actually break this when I do my Rooted to Rise program. I break it into two different healing sections because in and of itself, there's so much to our money story and our allergies to money. But I want to mention and I want to talk and have you start exploring today about first your roots. What were you told? What was passed down to you about money? What did your family share? What were their beliefs? What were their programming? What were their experiences? Your parents or your adopted parents, right? If you're adopted, that's still a belief and programming. Your grandparents. Then even if you know it, or if you're new to starting to explore your lineage, to sink in and explore your lineage, your roots, your ancestors, and what their experience is. Did they come from poverty? Did they, and immigrate? Did they come from a famine? Did they come from war? Did they come from abundance? All of that. There's no right or wrong answer. It's just a great place to start the exploration for you. So I want you to first start questioning today, exploring with an open mind and heart. What is your money story in your roots? What is your connection? I know for me, my money story has to do with my great-grandmother, and my grandmother grew up on my mother's side during, well, technically both sides did, but I know the stories and the experiences more from my mother's side than my father's side. And she grew up as an immigrant, well, as first generation immigrants during the Depression, as a single mother. Actually, my great grandmother was a single mother during the Great Depression. Her husband passed away, and she had to raise children as a woman in the United States during the Great Depression. So that really shaped, on top of both of her grandmothers, my great grandmothers, so my great great grandmothers being immigrants from Poland and Lithuania. And that is then their own story as well, right? Being immigrants in the US, though we don't know why they immigrated, but most likely they did not immigrate because they had a perfect and amazing life where they were, right? But I definitely know that when they got here, that those parts of the family all went into coal mining. And a lot of them did not have the greatest experience as coal miners. And that part I do know as well. So there's this idea of you have to work hard. Money doesn't come easily, right? And that was passed on to my grandmother, who then passed it on to my mother. I know my grandfather on my mother's side, his family actually had it all. They actually did have money. I know at least for that. They were very well off in the Baltimore scene. But my great grandfather on my mother's side as well, from my grandfather, that family lost all their money. So there's trauma there around, you can have abundance, but you're going to lose it all. Money doesn't stay around, you know? So there's this, you have to act a certain way, but you have to be careful about your money, right? So there's, two different sides of a story just in one part of my family that come together that really also woven into things we hear every day, right? Were you ever told money doesn't grow on trees? You got to work really hard for money. You got to hustle to get money. Now, this doesn't mean that we're discounting showing up and being a co-creator in the universe, but we're exploring the verbiage and the belief that went with it. Was it that I am doing my part and co-creating and showing up in a committed way? Or is it, I got to work nonstop? That capitalism that's really passed down in a lot of the West, that is ingrained and is a DNA, belief and vow really for a lot of us, that you have to work. And that is the only way that you can do what you want to do. You got to work. You got to have that 9 to 5. You got to, and even if let's say you don't believe you need a 9 to 5, are you still holding beliefs that you have to really, really work? You got to hustle. You got to really do that. You can't just be and breathe and show up with joy in your life. Questions to explore for yourself. No right or wrong answer here. So when we deal with energetic allergy healing, when it comes to money, we look at your beliefs, and we also look at the sensitivities to money because of maybe traumas. So you can be allergic, you can have sensitivities to banking institutions, to the physical makeup of the money, to the actual transactions of the money, right? Your bank account, your checkbook, your debit card. You can actually have sensitivities to all of these things. And different people have different experiences. So this week, I encourage you to look at your story, your money story, and I encourage you to start exploring your sensitivities. And do you have a sensitivity to money? What is your beliefs, traumas, and sensitivities to money, to the exchange of physical money and wealth? Not just I feel great and I'm abundant, but the actual physical exchange, electronic or paper coin money. So those are your prompts for this week on Can You Be Allergic? The money story. And I look forward to you guys sharing below what are the beliefs, what are the stories that you have, and do you feel you're sensitive to a certain aspect of your money experience in this time and space? So thanks for joining me, guys. Make sure to subscribe for more on this series. We're going into October, so we're wrapping up our healings and our explorations about our roots, and we're shifting in October to our gifts. So we're going to be starting to talk about our gifts, and can we be allergic to guides, our own clairs, all of those things we're going to be talking about in our October part of this series. And we're going to be doing healings in the healing parts of the videos that I share. So make sure to subscribe so you can catch all of those as we sink into October, and leave your comments, leave, your thoughts. I love hearing from you guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.